As the Halloween season approaches, I typically always do this. I decide to watch horror films. Um, I just love Halloween, but not so much going out for Halloween. But I love watching this season, the air, and horror films. So I was on Netflix, and I saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2022, and did not know this thing came out. And then I discovered that there's a bunch of Texas Chainsaw Massacre films I did not know come out. The last Texas Chainsaw film I saw was the beginning, the prequel to the remake. So I decided to watch every single one of these films, from the first movie all the way to the newest film. And I decided to rank them. So this is my list. I'm not saying that this is the accurate list and how you should rate it, but this is what I think. This is from my worst to the best. So here we go. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D is the worst Texas Chainsaw film ever, in my opinion. This is horrific. I do not know why this was made. I am ashamed and astonished that they got Alexandra Daddario to be in it. Now, with that being said, there's some elements that are good, I will say. But for the most part, this is garbage. Truly, truly garbage. I will say one thing positive. This is the first time out of all these films, almost, I think, besides the first film and maybe the second. I kind of like a character in the second film. But this is the first time that I did not despise every single character in the movie starting off. Because every single one of these Texas Chainsaws, I hate every single character. You know, other than the first film. The second film I kind of like Stretch, but then later on, some of them build up, you know, like you become accustomed to them and you kind of root for some of them. Most of the time you don't, and you don't care. This is one of the times where I kind of like them, although I will say Alexandra Daddario, she comes off as just like plain. I don't know when she actually filmed this. It came out in 2013. I don't know when the actual film was shot, but she just seems like blank, like no emotion. A lot of these actresses seem like they have no emotion when they're filming these these movies. There's another one coming up that it was just like the film was directed by John Lewesenhop. I'm probably butchering that name, and this is the last thing he ever directed. Before this, he directed two films that I remember seeing in the theaters, not seeing personally, but like posters for him, like Takers and Lockdown. I saw both of those posters in theaters. Surprisingly, those are much more higher rated than this film. This is the last thing he ever did, and he's not deceased. He's still alive. I don't know if he's an actor. No, because he looks like somebody from something. Somebody from something. Oh, God. Anyway, yeah, Alexandra Daddario's in here, and this film, I will tell you why this film really sucks so bad. Not so much, it's 3D, and everything was 3D in 2012, 13. That's one of the gimmicks I despise, too. This is just ridiculous. The concept and everything feels like this movie is one of the first ones that I think that I watched, and I said, this seems like they took a script that they had for another horror film and just decided to change it into making it Leatherface. Like, that's what it felt like. And everything is so ridiculous in this movie. So in this film, Alexandra Daddario's character is Heather Miller. And Heather discovers that first of all, she's an artist that likes to use bones in her artwork. And she's a butcher. And she's gorgeous, as she's always gorgeous. And she has those ridiculous piercing eyes like that woman from Masters of the Universe. Alexandra Daddario is gorgeous. I have a friend that has a friend that's friends with her, and he met her, and she's beautiful. And I think she's now married and having a kid. If I ever met her, I would just be lost in her eyes. More than anything, yes, she's beautiful. I've seen True Detective. You know, she's a gorgeous woman. But in this, she's just like a blank, emotionless vessel to just regurgitate lines. But anyway, so in this film, she discovers that she had a grandmother she didn't know about. And then she discovers she was adopted because her mother really wanted a kid. And she lives in California. Her grandmother died, and her grandmother left her some things. Her grandmother lives in Texas. So her and her boyfriend, played by Trey Songz, I was like, he looks so familiar. They decide to travel with a couple of friends to go to New Orleans. On the way to New Orleans, they're going to stop off to meet the lawyer to get the inheritance or whatever the grandmother left her. Now, this is the story concept, and then you discover, Leatherface is living in the basement. But this is the part that's really terrible. The beginning of this movie opens up with the police approaching the house because Sally, the first victim of the first film, told the police that, you would think that these people killed all her friends, and they tried to murder her. And this guy's crazy. He has a chainsaw. And he's trying to kill her. And there's another witness too, the guy driving the car. We never talk about him. That saved her life. The truck, right? Was it a truck or no? It was a pickup. So we never hear anything about that. We never hear anything about that guy. That'd be cool. Bring him back in. Like, oh, that day scared the living crap out of me. But anyway, so the cops show up at the house, and all of a sudden, there's more family members in the house that's pretty pristine. Like this house does not look like, and that's one of the main things too. Some of these films that I just can't stand. I'll tell you, the house. I love the first house. The first house is perfection. The first house, and there's other ones that get the house right. This house is supposed to be the first house. It's pristine. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's empty. It looks like it was an empty house. That set decorator didn't show up for work that day, and they just sat people down. They actually even have Gunnar Hansen sitting there, and so this is they're telling them come out to send out the boy because I guess the girl didn't say that the rest of the family were cannibals and killing people. She just said it was Leatherface. So they're like, he's family. We can't send him out. And they're, come on, Sawyer, send out that boy. We just want the boy. So he goes, he tells Leatherface, who's wearing the mask at the end, which I never even realized that I'll get to that later. So he goes into where Leatherface is. Leatherface is in a room that's beautiful, clean too. And Bill Moseley also returns in this as he's playing Drayton Sawyer, who I guess is the cook from the original film. I never remember his name being Drayton. But so he goes in there. He tells him he has to go out, but then all of a sudden another bunch of cars just show up while the cops are like, oh no. And which makes zero sense that there's other people in this town, because the whole idea of the film was the town is dead. That's why this family, they lost their jobs. The biggest job that was in this town was this meat packing or butchering facility, right? And they closed. They went automated, or they moved or something, and now all these people lost their jobs. There's no people, there's no town, there's no sheriffs really around. There's a population of like 4, the family, that's it. And then they try to capture these people and kill them. That's what I thought, but no, not in this film. This film, there's another a bunch of people. They come in and they're like, we hate them Sawyers. Come on, get out of here. We're gonna kill you. So this family shows up. I mean, these people show up, and it's like Hatfield McCoy's type of, we're gonna kill. We want them dead. And it also ends up turning into freaking Nightmare on Elm Street, because they burn him. They set the house on fire. They burn everybody but Leatherface. Leatherface manages to escape. The rest of the family die. We see that a woman died, but her baby is alive. But her baby has a mark of this necklace that they all wore called the Sawyers to let them know that they're Sawyers, because I guess they would forget. So yeah, so I guess the father called his other relatives from another part of town to come and help him, because we're gonna get caught being cannibals. But the police show up, and like I said, this feels repurposed. This movie feels like it was something else, and it wasn't going to be good either way, but they decided to put in Leatherface into it because maybe that'll do something for them. I don't know. That's it. I mean, there's nothing really here. I'm trying to remember if the kills were cool or anything. No, I don't think so. There was an interesting scene where there was one cool part where there's a cop searching the house. He has his phone recording while he's searching, has his gun out, and he's searching, and then something happens. Shit! The reaction was funny, but besides that, this is where the acting sucks, is the people in town. The guy who's playing the mayor, the sheriff who does nothing, Alexandria Daddario, I'm sorry, she's just like Like she's just not even caring. I mean, she does have one of the worst lines ever in any of these films.
Do your thing, cuz.
That was just ridiculous, you know? And she's like, I don't know what her boyfriend is this guy. She's goth. She looks like she's a goth girl. And like all of a sudden, yeah, she has a turn too. There's a turn because she has no idea any of this happened. So she goes to, and this is another part that I hate. I know I'm all over the place with this review. I'm sorry. So she gets to the house. She meets the lawyer. The lawyer's like, read the letter that your grandmother left you. Read the letter. And then how did she find me? Oh, she never lost you. So she just let some poor people raise you to be whatever. Didn't come in to try to do anything. So she thought you'd be safer this way. Anyway, so he's been living in the basement. She's been feeding him. It's been 40 years since the incident where the house was burnt, and he's been living there for 40 years. And on top of that, Alexandria Daddario is supposed to be 20, yet she was born in 1974. And then 40 years passed, and Leatherface is terrible. It was horrific. This is terrible. They pick up a hitchhiker, and I originally thought, oh, of course he's going to be the one of the relatives, but no, because they pick him up in California before they get to New Orleans. So and this is the biggest, dumbest shit. I was like, who does this? They get to the house, they see all this great stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go into town. We'll leave you here, guy that we just picked up. We're going to leave you in this house. You can do whatever you want. Just wait for us. Don't worry about it. We'll be right back. And he starts to rob the house, and then he gets killed. Terrible, terrible. By Leatherface. He opens the door. He lets Leatherface loose. He gets killed. Blop. Then one by one, everyone starts dying. We discover that Trey Songz, instead of being happy with banging Alexandria Daddario as any normal man would be, he's banging her friend too. And then I think the scene in the car was okay, though some things didn't make sense. Then there's a whole, then they keep going. It goes, the movie's pretty short technically, but it feels forever. It's an hour and 30 minutes, and it feels forever because it's just, I don't know. There is some action stuff in here, but it's just stupid. Honestly, this is the worst thing. And then the special effects at the end, pure doo-doo. Pure doo-doo. This movie is just pure doo-doo in general. So all in all, this movie has a 4.8 rating on IMDb. I think that's way too high. I think it should be much lower than that. It should be a 1. This movie should be a 1. Anyway, yeah, this is my least favorite Texas Chainsaw films. I will say the girl who plays her friend is good in the film. Trey Songz is not bad acting wise. They're the most likable friends in the beginning. I will say that. The rest of these are pretty bad. Anyway, yeah. Number 9, one of the worst Texas Chainsaw film, in my opinion, is Texas Chainsaw 2013. Piece of garbage. Number 8, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, released in 1990, starring Ken Foree, William Butler, and Kate Hodges. Also introducing, I think, Viggo Mortensen. This film was directed by Jeff Burr, and it was written, I forgot by who, but he was a novelist that Michael DeLuca hired because he wrote really great horror books. The only one I could find was called Kill Riff, and I actually bought it. I want to see what it's like. But anyway, the film tells the story of Michelle, played by Kate Hodges, and Ryan, played by William Butler, traveling from, I believe, California to Florida to drop off Michelle's father's car, and then fly from Florida to New York and then somewhere else because her and Ryan are basically broken up and she needs time away from him. So much time so that when she sees Viggo Mortensen later on at the gas station, she's already ready to hang out with him. Kind of doesn't make you like the character in the beginning when you see that she's using her boyfriend to help her, or her ex-boyfriend, to help her travel across country. And then at the meantime, she doesn't want to be with him, but this guy's kind of cute looking. I might want to take you up on drinks or something, buddy.
Listen, I'd be glad to buy you both a beer, or, whatever you need if I catch a ride as far as Roansdead.
Sorry, Tex. We're on a pretty tight schedule today.
that right? In a big hurry?
Well, we could discuss it, I guess.
Okay.
They meet family members that we don't know are family members. One of them is Viggo Mortensen pretending to be a passerby, and the other one is, I think he's supposed to be the hitchhiker from the first film, but he doesn't have that. But he looks like he's supposed to be. He acts like that. I don't know, but he runs this gas station, and he is a pervert and a peeping Tom. As they pull up, he's looking at Playboys and cutting it, and then he sees her. He gets excited. I don't know why. She looks like Elaine from Seinfeld. This actress, I don't know what she's been in, but she's the worst thing about this film. She's like Alexandra Daddario in a sense. Alexandra Daddario is beautiful to look at. She can act. I've seen her in things that can act. In that film, she wasn't acting. This woman is like bland. No, nothing. Not even when she gets hurt do I care. I don't care because she's so bland. And this film, the biggest problem is just boring for the most part. This incident happens where Viggo Mortensen outs the creepy dude with the one eye about him being a pervert and spying on the girl while she was using the bathroom.
Shut the fuck up, motherfucker! In my place! I'll do whatever I want here in my place!
What's wrong?
He's having himself a peekaboo party. Use the star.
I think I'm gonna puke.
He gets a gun. Viggo Mortensen tells them, "Go, get out of here, drive away." They drive away, and he pretends to shoot him, but he didn't really shoot him, as we find out later, because Viggo Mortensen's a family member. He's Tex. Just call me Tex. Why can't you call me Tex? Boring. This whole thing is boring. Well, another thing they get wrong, and it's all done outside in the dark. It's just Ken Fore's, that part was interesting when, I don't know. This movie just sucks, dude. This is like the worst one. I remember I constantly watch it. I watch it now, and I was just bored. I wanted to fall asleep. That's how bored I was. It's just awful. The only good thing in it maybe is and then the other guy who's just another family member who's just, he's a tow truck driver. He was awful. This version of the family sucks. The interesting aspect in it is the little girl. That's about it. Also, when Kate Hodges' character, I don't even remember her name in the movie. What was her stupid name? She runs to the house that she sees after trying to escape the Leatherface because he killed her boyfriend. She sees a house. She sees lights. She doesn't knock. She just opens the door. Then she goes. She doesn't scream hello. She goes hello, and then she sees the little girl holding a skeleton doll. Goes upstairs, and then.
Don't talk back.
Oh God, this was awful. This was awful. I could hear there's a cool scene when they kill. They show that there's a lot of deleted scenes that I heard were very cool. And the MPAA at this time were really pain in the asses. They did the same thing with a lot of scenes in Night of the Living Dead that weren't used. So yeah, the MPAA was really horrible at this time. So the deleted, I don't know how much those deleted scenes would have elevated the movie in general. Caroline Williams reprises her role as Stretch from the Texas Chainsaw in 1996 in a cameo as a news reporter. All right, all I really know besides that this movie sucks is that the director was hired to direct this thing, then he was fired, then nobody wanted to direct it after he was fired, and then he came back to direct it. They should have just shelved the movie. All in all, it really sucks that you have a great actor like Ken Fore in here, and his parts are the most interesting parts in it, almost. I mean, there's a girl that's there, he meets a girl that's been wandering in the woods. I don't know. I don't care about any of these characters. That's the biggest problem in this film. That's the biggest problem in most of these films. I just didn't care about the characters. Ken Fore was the only one I cared about. William Butler, barely in it. He's in it, whatever. Viggo Mortensen has nothing to work with. Tom Everett plays Alfredo. I forget which one that one is. Is that the one-eyed guy or the other guy? I think that's the one-eyed guy. Tinker is the one with the tow truck. Yeah, this is the worst one. And I tried when I was a kid. I wanted this one to be fun and cool because it looked cool. The box looked cool, but it was just garbage. Again, I hear there's deleted scenes that would have made the film gorier or something, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it was just boring. It was absolutely boring. I can't even remember, besides the girl and William Butler, it's only 2 people Leatherface kills in this entire film, I think. Right? I don't know. Anyway, this is number 8 because this is garbage. The origin story of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface, or just Leatherface. This movie is a sequel to the one with Alexandra Daddario. It's a prequel. It's a prequel to the one with Alexandra Daddario. That's what I should say. With new characters, obviously, because it's a prequel, and we're going back to the 30s. We're going way back, right? 1930s, and we're gonna see this family was crazy to begin with. Yeah, so this sucked too. It's an origin story, and most of it takes place in an insane asylum. The first half. I will say this about this film: it does suck in the sense that it makes no sense it being a Texas Chainsaw film. Another movie, another script that seems repurposed from whatever it was supposed to be, but not as bad as Leatherface 3D. But it seems like this would have been an interesting, cool story about somebody that was crazy that becomes more crazier later on than a Texas Chainsaw film. I mean, they try to gotcha. They do this gotcha thing where we discover a character that we didn't think was gonna be who it was. So this is what happens in the beginning of the film. It's this little boy's birthday, and everyone's singing happy birthday. The grandpa's there, the mother's there. There's 2 other characters in this stupid thing, and the kid has to kill somebody. He doesn't want to kill him. So we see this kid's not a killer, yet he ends up luring a girl to a house and to a barn, and then the girl's looking for him because he said he needs help. Stupid girl anyway. And then this is a trap. It's a booby trap, and they kill her. We discover that this girl's father is the sheriff of the town, played by Stephen Dorff. Is it Stephen Dorff? Yeah, Stephen Dorff from Blade. And he's trying to do his best fucking Sean Penn impression in the beginning when he's screaming about his daughter being died, but there's no emotion there.
Is she in there? Is my baby in there? Answer me, goddammit!
We got one of them.
Is that my daughter in there? Is that my daughter in there? No! 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 Oh, God! Oh, God! No!
So they arrest. This is how you gonna arrest my son? You have no right. They arrest all of the boys, I think.
He's not under arrest. He's under protection from you.
What are you talking about?
I can't count how many crime scenes I've been to where there just happen to be Sawyers there already. Them kids ain't safe with you.
Horse shit.
Send some units over to the Sawyer house. You round up all the minors. I want all of them. You hear me?
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, I'll have a warrant that says I can by the time we arrive. It's called child endangerment. You take one of mine, and I'll take all yours, Verna.
So they put this guy in a mental institution. This kid, his name is Jedediah, right? But then, for the kids' safety, all these kids that are in this insane asylum, that are now 18 years have gone by, they're all older, but all their names have been changed to protect them from their abusers. The mom comes back because now she has money and she wants to take her son out of jail, out of this place, but they said, well, you need a different court order for that, so you can't see him, blah. So she goes, it took me 3 months for that. So she goes, well, you better go hurry up and get on the new court order that you need to get him out if you want him. Anyway, the film is okay. The film was interesting enough till this point on. We do see a kid that's in there in this insane asylum that we think is going to be Bubba. I'm not calling him Jedediah, whatever his stupid name is. Bubba was his name in the first 2 movies, I think. So I thought that was his name, but whatever. Leatherface. We think this kid's gonna be Leatherface. They do a little switcheroo on you, which was like, ugh. It's like, but then that's the biggest problem. Like the character that we're seeing and we're following, and he's normal, and all these things happen. And you're just like, this isn't Leatherface. This guy is not. This guy doesn't become Leatherface because even for whatever stupid reason they gave him to. Anyway, the mom goes in. She kind of disrupts everything, and then there's the inmates go crazy, and they escape. This part was interesting as a film. I was like, this is interesting, but it's not a Texas Chainsaw. The interesting characters was the crazy guy and his girlfriend. Those were the most interesting aspect. They remind me of Natural Born Killers or the Honey Bunny and whatever from Pulp Fiction. In the beginning when they robbed the diner. There's a diner scene in here too, which I thought was pretty cool. It was brutal. It was nice. I liked it. But this is not a Texas Chainsaw film. Anyway, long story short, he gets back with his family, and the guy we're following for the majority of the film, who has a personality, is smart, doesn't like to kill people. We discover he's actually Leatherface, not the other one. There's a scene that shows you how. The character we're following, she was a girl, she was a nurse. He liked her, he was trying to protect her, and she was just a stupid idiot and always got everybody killed. So she deserved what happened to her at the end of this film. I mean, I will say, if this was not Texas, they did not try to incorporate this in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this would be a good on the run, like the police chasing after these people, and if one of them was a killer when he was younger. I think they repurposed the script. I don't know. Didn't look into it. I just assumed they did. The most interesting aspect is the 2 people that escape. There's one cool death in this film that I really liked. I'm going to put it right here. I thought that was great. When that happened, I was like, whoa. I was like, that was funny. But I don't know. Like I said, if this was not Leatherface, I think this would be a good movie. But because they try to incorporate Leatherface in here, it's pure doo-doo. Another pure doo-doo. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is one of the worst, and actually, I really liked it when it first came out. I believed I did. I think there's a director's cut. I had everything, and there's 2 reasons specifically why I loved this film. Yes, I have no shame. Those were the 2 reasons. But watching it again, it feels like you're going to get a shot-for-shot remake, and it's not necessarily. They do change elements in it. Interestingly enough, there are interesting things in it that they changed, like the sheriff. I like that they added a sheriff. I like that they added a woman, because before this, there was no motherly figure in it, really. So I like that. Oh my. I mean, technically you could say the third one with the grandmother, that's the first time they did it, which they did, or the mother, but she was horrible. She was talking to a voice box that was, but this one, I liked it. Actually, I think, should she say my in this one?
Oh my. Oh my.
But anyway, I liked the family. I liked what they did with the family. They added family members. It was creepier. Oh yes, and the one thing I disliked was that little shit from The Ring. He was so annoying in The Ring, and then they add him in here to be like a bucktooth caricature of an inbred kid. And come on, I'll help you. Anyway, Jessica Biel is really the only reason why I like this film, I think, looking back on it now, because everything, I dislike everything. The actors are okay. I don't despise them. Their relationship's okay, but a little bit, it's okay. It's okay. But then they make you not like them when you discover, oh, they're trying to bring drugs, cross country from Mexico into the U.S. They're trying to, they smuggled in drugs and they're trying to sell weed. Yes, it's okay, it's weed, but still, in the 70s, it was illegal. So they kind of make you not like most of them. But Jessica Biel, she's the one, because she's, oh no, you shouldn't do that, because that's why she's going to survive. Remember, those are the rules. The good girls, the ones that doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink, doesn't have sex, they survive. And we don't know if they had sex with, they want to have 3 kids. Eric Balfour really loves her. So The kills were okay when you can see them, but a lot of this is the main thing I dislike. Dislike the film's the temperature of the film. I dislike the home. The house is shit. I hate the house in this movie. And the cuts. There's nothing but quick cuts. There are times where like she runs away and she saves Morgan. They run into the woods into an abandoned home, right? This is where everything's blue. And it reminds me of a Jason, one of the cabins in Crystal Lake. And she's hiding in a closet. She hides him in a closet. And they're both looking through holes to see what's going on. And I don't know which eye is... That, all these things. And then it cuts... The cuts are horrible. There's even times where she escapes and she gets into the freezer. I mean, they're just really... This director, all he wanted to do was show Jessica Biel's nipples off. That's really all he wanted to do with this movie. He did a good job of doing that because you can see him all over the place. Because then she goes into a freezer and then she's scared of the meats that's in the freezer. And then the cuts are the worst. The editing is shit. I forgot how it ended. She survives, right? I think. I don't even remember. Oh my God. I think she survives because the cops show up later. She cuts the guy's arm off. That's another thing I disliked. I go, oh, why you got, and I disliked it when I watched it at the time. So I go, oh, why you gotta cut his hand off? Now you can't do a sequel. I just dislike this one a lot. I don't know. I could be in the minority. I'm not going into specific great storytelling or what the synopsis of the film is. It's a remake, and it's shitty. It's a shitty version of the remake. And I liked it when it first came out. I don't know why, but I did. But I don't like it now. I rewatched it, and it was just like, well, that's why it's number 6. But I know. Oh. One thing. So I liked it because of Jessica Biel when I was younger. But now rewatching it, I realized she's terrible. She's a terrible actress. I was wondering what happened to her. Why didn't she do more things? And very clear. In this movie, she's horrible. She's horrible in this. She's horrible. Great body. But everything else, in this movie at least, and also, and now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. She was terrible in that too. Whatever. She's I never watched Seventh Heaven, so I don't know if she was horrible all the time, and she just made it off her looks or what. But this was terrible, and I think this was like trying to. I think they went in this direction with this film because Scream was successful. They did a remake to Halloween or a sequel, H2O. That was successful, even though that was garbage. And Urban Legend was popular, and they were doing all these. So they said, let's get in on this and let's do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was, I believe, the first Platinum Dunes remake. Because then later on they went to do, did they do Freddy also? But I know they went to do Friday the 13th. So, but yeah, this was bad. Moving along. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, the new one that just came out. This movie, when I first saw it, the first, 15 minutes, I hated. I saw this is woke garbage. They're pushing an agenda. They no guns thing. I couldn't stand this. Everyone's racist. I don't even think they make a racist reference in the third Leatherface film. Could be wrong. They probably do. I know they say dark meat. We got some dark meat coming, mama. If Bubba can or Leatherface can get him, and she's like, well, that's mine or something. I don't think there's a line of rape, but there could be. I could have missed it because that movie was so boring. Yeah, there might have been in one of these, but in this one it was like an overt thing, like, oh, look at that, and then anyway. But they kind of flip it a lot. They try to flip every single thing you're expecting. While doing research, and I mean just looking on IMDb right now, it says, because I was going to say this felt repurposed a little bit too, because the first half is one way, like they wanted to go one direction, and then the rest of it is totally different. But discovering that the directors, there was 2 guys originally set to direct this, on August 24th, 2020, initial directors and brothers Ryan Tohill and Andy Tohill split from the project during the film's first week of production in Bulgaria. The duo was replaced with David Blue Garcia, who scrapped and reshot the previous footage. Okay, I don't know why they got fired. That'll be interesting to find that out. But anyway, so I didn't like the first 15 minutes. They reshot it or whatever. I thought the characters too despised them, did not like any single one of them. The film tells the story of Dante and his girlfriend Ruth, his friend Melody, and her sister Lila. Could be wrong with those names and their relationships, but he's very rich and Melody have money, and they invested in this small ghost town in Texas, I think Harlow, Texas. They go to this small town. There's nobody there except one guy who's there to help him whatever they need. So they bought this town to do what necessarily? Because I think he's actually a chef. He wants to open a restaurant there, but he wants people to come in and with investors from the bank too and invest and open businesses in this small town to make it like a utopia or whatever. This other character who they meet that lives in the town says, "Oh, so you're a cult. You're trying to bring these people in here and live the way you guys all want to live. It's a cult." When he said that, and what they want to do reminds me of the Netflix documentary Wild Wild Country about these people who, the Oshoho. Well, this is like this guru guy who basically they bought a place in, I think it was Oregon, and that all these people lived in there. It was a cult. It was a fucking cult, and they were just giving their money to this guy. So he wants to do this thing, and there's all of a sudden they discover that there's somebody living in one of the buildings where a flag was hanging. That's a racist flag. So he goes in there and he's trying to get the flag out, discovers that there's a woman and her son, or a woman and a guy, because it used to be an orphanage, living in there. And she's like, "No, I have the title. I still own this house. I dealt with the bank or whatever." And then he's like, "No, you got to leave," because she said the word Negro, and he got offended. So then he goes out, and the curly hair girl, because that's all I know her as, curly hair girl's like, "Oh, I hate her. She hates everybody." That's what the woke part comes in, because this guy shows up at the gas station that they're at making a rest stop, and he has a pickup truck and it's diesel, and he drives in fast and parks his car to fill it up with gas, and she just automatically starts attacking him. Curly Sue. Melody is Curly Sue. She just starts going, "Oh," because she sees he has a gun on him. And she goes, "Oh my God, can you believe that? How small does your dick have to be if you have to carry your gun and show it around to people and everything?" And he could hear all of this, because he turns around and he says, "Listen, ma'am, there's feral animals here and we have to put them down. That's the only way we could deal with these animals, is to eradicate them." And then she says something. He goes, "Sorry if my big gun makes you scared." She goes, "I've seen bigger." And then I was like, oh no, what are we getting into? And then he cuts them off. All the diesel smoke covers their car. She gets more upset. And then by coincidence, this is the actual guy that they're supposed to meet to get the keys for all the houses or offices or commercial space in this abandoned town. So I was already expecting the worst, and I hated it already. I was like, oh God. Also, there's the sister. She's looking at her phone through messages, or one of them is looking through their phone through messages. And you see all this like anti-gun propaganda on her phone, and she's going through it. And I was just like, ugh. And then you discovered that she is a survivor of a school shooting. So they say that the directors were fired, and that they hired a new director, and that the director scrapped what they previously shot. I highly doubt he scrapped what they previously shot, because it feels like the original 15 minutes of film was what they shot. And I guess Netflix didn't want to do it for some reason and fired them, and then hired this guy, and then he turns everything on its head. But now let's get back to the actual continuation of the people that Dante and Melody are throwing out. So the police show up, and they tell her, you're supposed to leave or whatever. They try to get her out. She throws up, and she starts dying, basically. They take her and some big freak who ends up being Leatherface. He somehow made it to this orphanage. They take them, they're going to the hospital. She dies in the car, and then Leatherface kills the deputies and the girlfriend. Oh, it's crazy. So he goes back, and this is when it got good. It got good right here. From this point on, everything it's set up, it went against itself. It wasn't woke. It went against it. It went against it constantly. Now, the concept of Leatherface finding this orphanage, don't know how it happened. Would like to know that. But all in all, I was actually highly surprised with how good it was from this point on. And they flip everything, so much so that the gun thing that she was against, she ends up going to grab the gun, using the gun to fight back. The guy that they thought was the white male, cisgender, small penis, big gun, whatever, he tries to save them. He's not a racist. It flipped everything. On top of that, this is the most kills ever in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. Leatherface kills a bus full of people, literally. There's a part 2. They go, "We're trying to cancel you, man." But fuck it. They killed all of them. It was great. There are some stupid things in here. Oh, the remake or the retelling or the sequel to Halloween was successful. So let's bring back Sally, the girl that survived the first film. So her character's brought back, and she's just like Jamie Lee Curtis, boss bitch. But unlike with Jamie Lee Curtis, the right thing happened here. The right thing happened in this film. This was the right thing. Should have happened to fucking Jamie Lee Curtis, at least in the third movie, or the first one, or the second one, the third. It should have happened in the third because the second one, I don't even know. Anyway, definitely should have been the ending of the third film. If not the second, the beginning of the second one. But long story short, that was a good point. And it ended well. I liked the ending. I was like, oh no. I liked the ending. It was fucking hilarious. It was kind of funny. Surprisingly, this woke film was actually pretty good. It wasn't woke. It flipped everything on its head, and it was fun. I'm surprised. So, yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 was actually good. Who would have knew? Number 4, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. Now, I know people might have been wondering why this wasn't earlier in my list. I don't know. I don't know. I like this. I'm sorry. This is just a me thing. I like this movie. I know it's not for everybody. When I was younger, I didn't like it. I didn't know what they were doing with Leatherface, and I still don't know really what they were doing with Leatherface, and I don't get the whole Illuminati thing.
You really must accept my sincere apologies. It was supposed to be a spiritual experience. I can't tell you how disappointed I am.
And again, these are characters that the movie starts out with characters you don't care about because they're such shit. They're terrible people. All I know is Jenny, Renee Zellweger's character. She's a loser nerd, and she has friends that are terrible. And this is really a bad film. To be honest, this really is a bad film. There's so many things about this that's ridiculous. She constantly escapes just to get caught again, Jenny. Her friends are useless. Nobody really helps her. Matthew McConaughey plays Vilmer. He's over the top beyond belief.
All right. What took you so long?
Welcome to my world. Vilmer! Get that bitch! Go!
You don't fucking believe this, do you?
Oh, God, what are you gonna do to me?
No, I asked you a goddamn question.
Over the top. One of the things, which I don't know, for some reason I like, I do like him being ridiculously over the top. The one character I dislike the most is the guy who speaks in stupid quotes.
The woman's a whore, and there's an end on it. That's Samuel Johnson.
Why are you doing this?
Conversation is a game of circles. That's Ralph Waldo Emerson. There is nothing to fear but fear itself.
That was, he's annoying. Jenny, sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't. There's a point where she just becomes a boss for no reason out of nowhere.
I'm gonna leave, and no one is gonna stop me. You sit the fuck down and shut up.
One of the main things I like about this film is the house is perfection. That's the house. That's what the house is supposed to look like. That's what I believe the Sawyers live in that. Matthew McConaughey having a robotic leg. I don't know what the hell is going on with that either. The girl saying she had a chip in her brain that, well, it would have been good if she would like pull her hair down and you saw it was a wig, and that, you know, the girl that looks like Rebecca from Cheers, Christy Alley. If she would have pulled down and saw that she had like a, you know, like this douche from part 2. If it would have shown that, Chop Top from part 2. But if they would have shown that, then yeah, but no. They don't, which is stupid. If her head would have blown up, would have been cool. This was actually written and directed by the guy who wrote the first Texas Chainsaw. So he made Leatherface this androgynous character or caricature, which kind of works technically. If you look at the first film, you look at the second film, and then you look at this one, it kind of makes sense that he would be like this, especially at the end of the first film, the face he's wearing. But also in the second film, like he's like, there's a lot of things in the second one. But I don't like it. They kind of make him not really useful. It's more like the Matthew McConaughey show and Renee Zellweger show. I don't understand the whole Illuminati thing. The guy coming in, opening his shirt, like, what the hell's going on? But there's something about this film, I have to say. It's campy. It's ridiculous. It's filthy. I love it. I love that it's filthy. It could have been better. It could have been better. There's a story to be told here. I will say that. But it just works for me. I'm sorry. I like it better than 3. I like it better than the remake. It just works. I do like this film. So that's why it's the place where I placed it. I don't know, but that's the house. That's what the house is supposed to look like. That disgusting. That filthy. That's beautiful. I love it. People are going to hate me for this one, but I'm not in the fan club of this film. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I know people are going to go ridiculous. I just don't like it. And surprisingly, it's higher up because going through all the films, I'm like, oh my God, it's such garbage. So this one, I'm surprised when it's number 3 is like good. It's not bad. It's good. Surprised. But because I watched it, I tell you what, the last time I saw this film before recently was when I was 14 years old. I disliked it so much when I was a kid that I'd have not watched it since until yesterday, I think it was. And I watched it and I did not like it. Again, I was like, from the opening scene with the stupid kids in the car shooting things and the unlikable characters, like all of them, except, they call it Stretch. And I didn't like Stretch either in the beginning. I ended up liking her, but I didn't like her in the beginning. I don't like my horror films when the director returns to destroy it and make it a joke. And that's what he did. I don't understand that. And there's a lot of things with my directors. I don't like directors that want to take a franchise and make it their own, and they have to end it at number 3, like Christopher Nolan with Batman, or any director that they go up, they go, no, this is my trilogy. This is my thing. It's not your character. It's not your just no. So when Toby Hooper comes after he did the first one, which was classic, beautiful, like look into the lives of sick people. Like it feels like it was a documentary. That's why I constantly refer back to that film being as like a documentary. And this movie is a comedy, and it feels like a Gremlins 2 type situation where he came in and they're gonna make this movie, and he's like, you know what, I'll do it, but I'm gonna kill them all, and I'm just gonna ruin it, and I'm just gonna make it whatever. I'm just gonna throw. But there are good things into it. I like the underground amusement park warehouse or lair of Leatherface and his family. I like that the cook is brought back. I thought when I was younger that Bill Moseley was supposed to be the hitchhiker. So to find out that he's actually his brother, I'm like, okay, it's a little bit better. But I hate him. I hate his character. He's so annoying. Bill Moseley's a fine actor. Leatherface is interesting in this because he's horny. He's going through puberty or something, and he likes Stretch, who's our main character, who is a radio DJ who hears the boys, or the Sawyers, kill 2 assholes in a car that should have been killed for what they were doing. So Leatherface is actually the good guy in this goddamn movie. So they kill them, these annoying little bastards. So that would be seeing that they've been killing people all over the place. And out to look for them is the uncle of Franklin and Sally, Dennis Hopper. So he's out there trying to find the people for the last 14 years who killed his nephew and who almost killed his niece. I think, because even though later he says brother to Franklin's corpse because he sees him, his bones. They saved him for some reason, and the wheelchair. And the light still works after 14 years. The battery's in the light. But anyway, so he's out there, Lefty, Dennis Hopper, Lefty, and Stretch. After I rewatched it. I didn't like it. I thought about it. And I do like it more. And it's one of the one films that I do have actually better things to say about it and is more enjoyable. Even thinking about it, I'm like, oh, well, there was a whole cool scene where Chop Top and Leatherface go into the DJ station, the radio station, and they, try to kill Stretch. And then Leatherface gets excited, and I was thinking, like, why the hell is he's destroying the ice so much, and it's just squirting all over the place, like, and Stretch is just screaming, and then she's all soaked, and then he's like taking the saw, like it's like his, member, and she's like, and then she starts randomly talking, like she's talking to the saw, and like the saw is like, it was interesting, and there's interesting things to say about this. But when I was a kid, I hated it, and I hated Dennis Hopper, and even now thinking about it, I like it more than I still don't like it, but I like it. There are things I could say, there are good qualities in this. The cook is an idiot. I hate him. I don't know how you can have a 3 and all these other films as sequels when fucking Leatherface is gutted and then they blow him up. So anyway, but this is a better one, and I do like part 2, and it is worth a watch, and you think about it afterwards more and more. Number 2, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. I like this. I always liked this. I thought it was an interesting sequel to the remake prequel. I like that it added more elements to it. I never liked the fact that Leatherface was deformed. I thought that was stupid. I didn't think he needed a reason besides the fact that he was mentally like slower to wear this, or just a sick fuck that liked wearing other people's skin. I didn't need all this other information or backstory to him necessarily about his origin story. So in this one, they find him in the trash. He's not even an actual relative, but they adopted him as he's one. I like that Lee Ermey is in here, and I like his character was the best thing about the remake. Actually, one of the best family members. This is one of the first films, honestly, besides the first one, and the second a little bit Stretch. I liked. I did not like Dennis Hopper Lefty that much. The third one didn't like anyone. The fourth one, Renee Zellweger kind of. So, but this is the first one, and then in the remake, you kind of like, I like Jessica Biel, but the first one where I liked everybody, all the characters that they introduced, I liked every single one of them. Even the bikers that show up, and the guy from Oz is there. Beecher, is that his name? No, Beecher was J.K. Simmons, I think. No, that was Bellinger. Somebody named Beecher. Anyway, he was from fucking Oz. He's a good actor. So he was the lawyer that drunk drove and killed somebody, and then he got... Anyway, he's a biker in here. I liked him. I liked Matt Boomer, who looked like a pretty good actor when you look back up on it. Although there's one scene where he's kind of looking at his co-star, and he looks a little hungry.
I'm not worried about them, Dean. You sure you got nothing to tell me?
But, I didn't know at the time. Nobody did. And I believe that he was cared for his brother and just this girl who's from Fast and the Furious, right? Sometimes some actresses are very, very lucky. And Jordana Brewster is very, very lucky in a sense because she's managed to have a sustaining... I mean, she was beautiful. And she was great in this film. Not knocking her for that. Just saying, like, I forgot that... I mean, because I'm not a fan of the Fast and Furious films besides the first one. And she's been in almost every single one of them. She's got a long career because of that goddamn movie. So she's in this. I'm like, oh, I know her. Where do I know her from? Oh, Fast and the Furious. So I'm like, what happened to her? Oh, she's in a lot of things because of Fast and the Furious. But she's great. I like her in this. This is what's so good about this film. Why I like this film so much. It's called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which means you should know you're going to get an origin story, but that no one's going to survive. Yet you still have hope that Jordana Brewster's character is going to survive. Because you're like, no, she'll get away. She's going to get away. She's going to get away. And then she doesn't. And then it was like, oh. Like, damn, no wonder. Of course. I really like this movie. I think every actor did a good job. Every single one of them. I like it much more than the previous one, the remake. So yeah, highly recommend this film. I don't know if I'm in the minority on that. I know when it came out, some people didn't like it. I liked it. I really like this movie. I still like it. Rewatched it, and it was my favorite one actually to rewatch, besides the number 1. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, is the best. It still holds up till today. It's like they're watching a documentary of this sick, disgusting family that has severe mental issues and are cannibals. Absolutely phenomenal. One thing I will say about all of this, I mean, because Leatherface is just a character. He's just one element of this sick family that has no women at the time. So they must be all sexually frustrated. But, you know, Grandpa's in here, and the Grandpa is like it's the best Grandpa besides the second one. Those two are good. The second Grandpa is really good. You can't even hold the hammer up. But pretty good, all of them. I don't think they don't have the Grandpa in the remakes, right?
Wrong!
What's actually really interesting when I think about it is that Leatherface's whole career and this franchise, right, is all built on that one film where he says nothing besides and the mask and the concept and the idea of this freak, you know? And it's the family all together, these weird, sick fucks. And Sally, the actress who plays Sally, sells it very well. It's a great film. Honestly, it's still disturbing till today. I highly enjoy the movie. It's one of the best, and he becomes a cult icon from that one film because the rest of the films suck pretty much. There's barely anyone where you're like, oh, they constantly get his face wrong. I don't know. They constantly get like, it doesn't always look good. They're trying to change things and make him like a mongoloid or a freak, missing his body, like his nose, or like doing something radical, and he's normal but got shot in the face, and then they sewed his face so now he can't talk. Stupid things like that. But nonetheless, the first one's great. Tobe Hooper brought a classic, and I don't even think he was trying to. He was just trying to make a low-budget horror film, and he succeeded. And I don't know. This is the best one. All these years later, they still haven't had made one to top it. You know, and the top three is the first one, and the second one's number 3 in my list. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, the first and the second one are the top 2, both directed by Tobe Hooper. So that's all you can say about that. But anyway, that is my ranking for my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre films from worst to best. Everyone knew the first one was going to be the best. But the rest of them, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about which one's your favorite, first of all. What do you think about my number 3? And if you like this video, remember to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here and you enjoyed the video, share this with a friend, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Do your thing, cuz.